Okay, before I start, I have a question. How many people have heard the phrase mirror, mirror on the wall? Okay, so everyone. What if I told you that the correct phrase is magic mirror on the wall? Yeah, crazy. So that's something called the Mandela Effect, and it's pretty complicated. So to get a better understanding, I'm going to tell you about how it started, the science supporting it, and use some real life examples to get a better understanding. So first is background. So what is it? A lot of people describe it as a phenomenon where a person remembers an event or memory different from what actually happened. And a more technical quote would be when someone has a clear memory of something that never actually happened in reality. Okay, and where they got the name from is a guy named Nelson Mandela, which I'm sure many of you have heard of him before. He went to prison in 1962 in South Africa for a lot of political riots and everything. And he was actually released from prison on February 11th, 1990, and died on December 5th, 2013. Now, a misconception among many people is that he actually died while he was in prison in about the late 1990s, but that was actually not true. And one of those people that actually believed he died in prison was a lady named Fiona Broome, who really got the Mandela Effect going in about 2009. She started a website called MandelaEffect.com to discuss the belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison. And once she started the website, she realized that many of the people believed the similar thing that she did, that he died. So this really became an effect on the internet, and she also wrote a book about it where she stated that these memories come from parallel universes that we actually live in, and where these memories are actually true. So now, this may seem crazy, parallel universes, but there's actually science supporting the Mandela Effect. So a lot of this comes from is false memory, where you remember an event that actually never happened, or remembering it quite differently from other people. And a lot of this occurs in dementia patients or people who have Alzheimer's, where they have memories that never really happened, and their family tell them that it's something different. So a guy named Jim Cohn was an undergraduate at the University of Arizona in the Department of Psychology, and he studied a lot of these false memories. So what he did was he asked his family to write down a memory, and he told a story about his brother being lost in a mall. So they all wrote all these ideas down, and his mom actually didn't believe it happened, so she said it didn't make any sense, but his brother, on the other hand, said the story was very true and actually added a lot more detail. And in a quote, he said, "I asked him if he could rate the clarity of the memory from a 1 to 10 point scale rating, from 1 not being he didn't remember anything to 11 being extremely clear, and he rated it about an 8, meaning he added tons of story, even more than any other people could believe. And he actually was very shocked to find out that the memory was not even true at all. And then another example would be the Bologna Central Railway clock in Italy. Now, this study was conducted to assess memories of the same event, where there was a terrorist attack on the Bologna Central Railway Station in Italy. It damaged a famous railway clock, but it was actually repaired in 1996. So when they did this study, they asked random people, did a survey, and 92% stated that the clock had always been broken, despite it being repaired in 1996. And then 79% claimed that they have seen it always set to 10:25. Now, after it was repaired in 1996, they left the clock at 10:25 to memorialize the people who had passed away. And including in that 79%, 21 railway employees who actually worked there believed the same thing. And only 6 out of about 180 people correctly knew that the clock had once worked. So now we're going to go through some examples of the Mandela Effect. And this is the most popular one. So has anybody heard of the book as a little kid, The Berenstain Bears? Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 options. Who thinks the one on the left is the correct one? Raise your hand. Okay, and who thinks that it's on the one on the right? Okay, it's actually the one on the left. Here are some pictures, and this name is spelled with an A. This is after the authors, Jim and Stan. So that's a common misconception among a lot of people. They believe it's spelled with an E rather than an A. So we're going to go through another one. So who believes it is the one on the left? And who believes it's the one on the right? So it's actually the one on the left. A lot of people associate the cartoon, so the T-O-O-N, as like a cartoon, but it's actually tunes like music and a lot of stuff like that. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Okay, who believes it's the one on the left? Okay, and who believes it's the one on the right? It is the one on the right. So a lot of people think the cornucopia is part of the fruit of the loom, but it's actually not. So here are some references. So I hope this gave you a better understanding of what the Mandela Effect is by describing the origin and the history, while using also the science behind it and using some real life examples. Thank you.